A message that wasn't casual, wasn't confused, wasn't vague. It was a request for something unusual, a custom-fitted pregnancy prosthetic. Not just a question, an order. With measurements, specifications, technical details. The kind that only come from someone who knows exactly what they want and needs it to appear indistinguishable from the real thing. And in that moment, a private inquiry, if true, became a public earthquake. Because if there was any truth buried in this accusation, it didn't just challenge Meghan's narrative. It rewrote it. If someone could reinvent their personality so completely, then the world began to wonder, could they reinvent other parts of their story too? According to the shop owner, this wasn't a basic request. Their shop creates high-end prosthetics used in feature films, pieces designed to mimic real bodies from every angle. And the alleged request wasn't for something off the shelf. It was for a full custom build, molded to specific measurements, crafted to move naturally, engineered to withstand real life. The owner said they were stunned. Orders like this come from movie studios, not from someone connected to a royal household. That's when Piers Morgan stepped into the center of the storm. He saw the allegation and asked the question millions were whispering but afraid to say out loud. Why would a pregnant woman need a prosthetic belly? Not a tabloid jab. Not a cheap shot. A procedure that would reshape a woman's future, her choices, her body. If that were true, then the pregnancies celebrated across continents were not just private, they were impossible. And once that idea surfaced, nothing felt the same. Whispers thickened into murmurs, murmurs into theories, theories into a single, heavy word: surrogacy. A word harmless in ordinary families, even beautiful. But inside the royal world, it is a word loaded with danger. Royal births are not simply happy events, they are ceremonies of lineage. Bloodlines are catalogued like treasures, written into history with ink that must never smudge. Who bore the child, where, and how, it determines everything, from titles to thrones. For someone like Meghan, whose life had always been built on control of her image, her narrative, her destiny, admitting to surrogacy would have shattered the varnish she'd polished so carefully. But then came the name no one expected, DL. A woman invisible to the world until the day she stepped forward with a calm so steady it shook everything around her. And her first words brought silence to an entire kingdom. I carried Archie. And I carried Lilibet. At that moment, the world seemed to stop breathing. DL did not present herself as a donor or a helper. She spoke as the woman who bore the children while Meghan appeared in public, cradling a belly that, according to DL, had never been hers. There were no tears in DL's voice, no pleas for pity. Only the quiet strength of someone erased so thoroughly she could no longer recognize herself. I wasn't treated as a mother, she said. I wasn't treated as a woman. I was treated as a vessel. And then came the evidence, clinical files stamped and dated, appointment logs, signatures from fertility specialists. Every document aligned almost perfectly with Meghan's public pregnancy timeline, as though two parallel stories had been choreographed, one hidden in sterile rooms, one performed on the world stage. DL spoke of private meetings held just weeks after the royal wedding, of contracts signed in shadows, of medical procedures concealed behind locked doors. She described the precision of the program, every appointment in Beverly Hills mirrored by a carefully staged public appearance in London. Then she revealed the images, 2 ultrasounds bearing her patient ID, matching Archie's and Lilibet's birth windows down to the exact week. Not rumors. Not speculation. Cold, unshakable evidence. She said she had been promised protection, stability, secrecy. Instead, she was pushed into silence, her payments delayed, her existence scrubbed clean. Wire transfers hidden behind shell companies. NDAs stamped with threats, crafted to erase her forever. But a loophole in the contract freed her voice outside the US, and through that narrow gap, she stepped into the light. And then she issued the challenge that made the world gasp. I am ready for a public DNA test. Live. No edits. No filters. My DNA against Archie's and Lilibet's. Because when science speaks, no palace can outwhisper it. Suddenly, old clips resurfaced, The strange moment on camera when Meghan bent down and her belly folded like cloth. People once laughed it off. Now they replayed it with new eyes. And the question hung heavy in the air. If she never carried the children, why hide it? Even the births seemed unusual. No jubilant doctors. No proud hospital staff. No traditional photo call outside the maternity ward. Only Harry, flustered and restless, making an awkward announcement near horse stables as if the truth might gallop away at any moment. DL insisted Meghan had never stepped into any maternity unit, and if that were true, then the silence wasn't privacy, it was strategy. But what changed everything was DL's claim that Harry was never blind to any of it. That he attended appointments, signed agreements, looked her in the eyes. He knew, she said. He approved. If true, this was never Meghan's secret. It was theirs. Inside the palace walls, panic ignited. Advisors whispered about legitimacy, the word that could unravel centuries. Royal rules are not ambiguous. A royal heir must be born of the mother's body unless declared otherwise. But if DL's evidence is real, then titles were granted under false pretenses. This was not mere scandal. It was a threat to the monarchy's core. Former palace officials muttered ominously, "The danger is not the surrogacy. The danger is the deception." And deception, once exposed, corrodes everything it touches. Reporters who once defended the Sussexes began revisiting every detail, the bumps, the timelines, the interviews that now felt rehearsed. DL released more emails, receipts, paid transfers disguised as consulting fees, medical notes aligning perfectly with Meghan's public glow. Two stories, two worlds, one truth. The palace stayed silent. Meghan's team froze. No denial. No explanation. And silence, when stretched too long, begins to sound like confession. DL insisted she wasn't seeking fame. "They tried to erase me," she said. "I won't let them." And those words pierced deeper than any allegation. Because beyond the titles and diamonds was a woman who carried life and was discarded like a shadow. Her lawyers prepared more evidence. Networks lined up for interviews. Documents waited like dominoes ready to fall. And the DNA challenge sat at the center, a test no one dared to accept. Inside the palace, fear thickened. Advisors warned that if DL's claims were proven, the damage could outlive everyone involved. Birthrights could unravel. Succession could be challenged. The monarchy's foundation could crack. Because once trust breaks, crowns become nothing more than ornaments. And so the whispers grew louder, swirling through corridors older than memory itself. A secret buried for years was clawing its way to the surface. A fairy tale polished to perfection was splintering. And DL's voice echoed through the cracks. "If I'm lying, prove it. If I'm not, explain everything. Because when truth knocks, even royal doors must open."